Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, and Premiership champion Greg Baxter for one of the highly anticipated, eagerly awaited fixtures of the season, which will be contested between West Bromwich Albion Throstles and Teesside Steel, the winner of which will book their spot in the 25-26 National League Premiership. It really does not get bigger than this. Greg, how are you?
I am good, Ryan. Looking forward to what should be a cracking match between two sides that come into this game in varying levels of form. That's not an understatement.
That's not an understatement, which we'll get onto shortly. Let's go through the teams very quickly. West Bromwich Albion Throstles finished 10th in our 12-team Premiership division, comprised of number 3, Amy Lee Julian, number 7, Amy Wharton, number 8, Regan Kemp, number 13, Parth Gakwad, number 18, Jonathan Davis, and number 21, Abigail Bolt. And Teesside Steel, probably on one of the richest veins of form in the entire country, National League, Regional League. You can encompass every competition in that. They're comprised of Charlie Connolly, number 1, Jamil Khan, number 4, Thomas Met, number 8, Owen Swift, number 9, Isaac Murray, number 10, and Oscar Mulgrew, number 16. Definitely a player to watch. So just touching on that point that Greg made a few seconds ago about the contrast in forms. West Bromwich Albion Throstles, albeit in the Premiership division, haven't seen victory in 14 fixtures. Contrasting that is Teesside Steel, who have not lost a game in 18 since game week 1 of the Championship season back in September.
Some run of form. Although I say, in these games, in these one-off game scenarios, you can look at the form book, but I think you throw it out the window.
It's a final, isn't it?
Throw it out the window.
And there is going to be so much nerves, anticipation, and I don't know how to call it. Teesside Steel have been incredible, and Throstles, it hasn't quite worked out. They've tried a new system, and they slowly started to get the philosophy of Colin Gordon, but across the 22 league games, it wasn't enough to see them secure safety to next season's Premiership. So they're going to have to contest this Premiership Play-off, which last season was won by the Championship side of the tie, as Mark Kerrison, our central referee, kicks things off. The squads as they start: Regan Kemp, Parth Gakwad, Abigail Bolt, and Amy Lee Julian for West Bromwich Albion Throstles. Isaac Murray, Jamil Khan, Oscar Mulgrew, and Thomas Met for Teesside Steel. It has to be said, win or lose for Teesside Steel, it's been an incredible season. They've defied all expectations as Oscar Mulgrew picks Thomas Met out, who forces it into the front of Abigail Bolt, who set away on this left-hand side, met by Jamil Khan. To do earlier game, no discredit. There's an intensity, there's a about this game the earlier game didn't have.
Yeah, nice opening flow, you've got to say.
Amy Lee Julian into Abigail Bolt, confidently cleared by Isaac Murray with a very ambitious call for a Teesside Steel ball.
He's not the one that usually does that either. It's usually Oscar Mulgrew. He will appeal for absolutely everything.
Abigail Bolt, it's disappointing. She just apologises to her teammates. They're going to want to try and make those opportunities count.
Acting player coach today, Abigail Bolt.
That she is, with Colin Gordon out in Argentina supporting their national team.
Must be nice.
Absolutely. So it goes all the way back to Parth Gakwad, who's operating as the most defensive of the 4 Throstles players, and Thomas Met just swipes into the side of him. Going to be given a ticking off from Mark Kerrison as Pete Taylor just comes over to have a word. I don't suspect anything more than a free kick will be awarded, but Mark Kerrison, who's announced his decision to step back from regular officiating following this game and the FA Disability Cup finals on June 29th. He's officiated more fixtures than anyone else in this country.
Top ref.
Absolutely. Regan Kemp. Down to Abigail Bolt. Pick off, back to Kemp in the centre. Just cuts off Thomas Met. Oscar Mulgrew had a sensational season and will, without doubt, be in contention for awards and accolades at this evening's end of season awards.
He got my vote.
Did he?
I mean, slightly biased.
No, I have to say,
he did get my vote.
I have to say he got my vote as well for player of the season.
Yep.
Be intriguing to see what the wider consensus was.
He is the beating heart of this Steel side. They've been training hard for this one the last few weeks.
I have no doubt.
They put them through their paces both Monday and Wednesday night.
Worth noting that during game week 5 they introduced Owen Swift to the squad as well, which brings incredible experience and quality. So no doubt he'll feature at some point as Amy Lee Julian fires it across the box. Nice clearance from Isaac Murray. Thomas Met just angles it into Jamil Khan. Has to be aware of Khan's driving onto the ball. And despite the appeals of Abigail Bolt, Mark Kerrison awards a 2-on-1 in the favour of Teesside Steel. So an opportunity via this indirect free kick. They're being brave, which what you can see now, committing players forward.
That's what I said to them before the game. I said, be brave. You've got, like, if you lose, everyone's going to say you've lost to the Premiership side.
Yeah, and that was the case last year when Norwich City was successful in beating Nomad Knights. They defied the odds to book their spot in the Premiership, and the pressure, the expectation is always on the Premiership side within this contest.
Of course, both Bolt and Kemp were in that playoff.
That they was
last year for Nomad Knights, so they know what the fixture is about. They were on the losing side.
Lucas Vezra O'Brien in the chat has rightfully acknowledged the fact that Teesside Steel were here 2 years ago fighting for their spot in the Championship via the Championship entry. So it shows their developments as a collective over the last 18 months, 2 years. Unprecedented, I don't think would be an exaggeration, as Amy Lee Julian just pressures Oscar Mulgrew.
I think we're seeing a few of those now, aren't we? I mean, you look at the Premiership. Newcastle,
Teesside, Leeds Chariots. I think Greenbank had a real push and was solid, and a solid team in the Premiership. Excited to see what they do next season. And going back to the game we watched earlier between Forest and GBG Saracens, GBG Saracens arguably, in some eyes, would have been seen as the better of the two. Obviously very much subjective, but they've never experienced National League football before, whereas Nottingham Forest have been a solid side within the Championship, or certainly been present in that division for many years now. So experience isn't a factor as it was in years gone by, as Abigail Bolt puts it back to Regan Kemp, trying to pick out Amy Lee Julian, but Jamil Khan, probably the most experienced player on the court by some margin. I think he was present in the first ever National League season back in 05-06.
Probably the most experienced person in the hall.
Obviously, he had a long hiatus from Power Chair football, only picked up again when Teesside Steel were formed 2 years ago, but he's hit the ground running since. So another kick in for Throstles, putting the pressure on, but nothing that's really troubled Isaac Murray, who just guides it out for a corner.
Sloppy corner the other way, if you ask me. I've had a text from Mr. Gordon in Buenos Aires saying he's watching live. I've been told to be kind as well. Hopefully the weather's all right for you, Colin. What time is it in Buenos Aires?
7 a.m. I think he just said.
Crikey. No
There's few people more power chair football mad and obsessed than Mr. Colin Gordon. As Abigail Bolt flicked it back to Regan Kemp, over to Amy Lee Julian. Beautiful pass, over to Abigail Bolt. Didn't quite have the accuracy to find the number 21, but really good passing patterns. They had a nice triangle that completely took Oscar Mulgrew out of the game. That's exactly what they need to do if they're going to find success and break down this very stubborn Teesside Steel defence. Kemp nicely struck. Likewise from Amy Lee Julian, who just can't meet the follow-up.
Luckily for her, it goes out of play for a kick into Throstles.
Thing is with Throstles, one thing that's very apparent is in the 24-25 Premiership, they only scored 7 goals across their 22 league games, which is a joint lowest in the division. So goal scoring has been a real issue for them. Contrasting that with Teesside Steel, they scored 58 goals. I know they're different divisions, but goal scoring was far from a problem for them. And they had a very solid defence, only conceding 10 goals across their 22 league games as well. So
Throstles as well rode their luck to even make this into this playoff fixture. I commentated the last games of the season and
just escaping automatic.
Norwich did them a favour. Nottingham won that game. They'd have been in the playoff game. Bottom of the table, Norwich getting their first win of the season in the final game, which meant that Throstles survived.
I think just from mannerisms, facial expressions, general actions, there is nerves around this Throstles teams, whereas Teesside Steel, they look a lot calmer. Hope that's not unfair to say. But it goes back to that expectation. I don't think they're expecting to come here and beat Throstles, but they're going to do their hardest to try and upset the odds.
We're only 10 minutes in. It feels like we've been going for a lot longer than we have. It's been quite end to end.
Beyond 1 or 2 touches, Parth Gakwad's had very little to do in that Throstles goal, which I think speaks volumes to the role that Regan Kemp is doing in the centre. As it's just trapped in that top right-hand corner, out for a corner ball.
You feel like this is where Throstles could get some sort of advantage. They bring Gakwad up to sort of act as a block. No prizes for guessing where this is going.
So Amy Lee Julian attempt to effort a goal, but over the bumpers, Mark Kerrison and Jeff Lewis are discussing, and Isaac Murray is fuming with that decision. Pete Taylor's coming over now. I'm not going to confirm anything until the referees have deliberated this decision. The ball did ricochet over the chair of Isaac Murray, and the goal is given. Amy Lee Julian, the goal scorer. I have watched it back. I think it is a fair goal. It just comes off the back wheel of Oscar Mulgrew. It doesn't go over the bumper of Isaac Murray. Either way, they put themselves in the driving seat after 11.5 minutes. West Bromwich Albion Throstles 1, Teesside Steel 0.
It's definitely a fair goal. Definitely a fair goal.
You can understand the initial appeals.
It's if you ask every player, it's the rule they most want changed, I think. Because there is nothing you can do about it. But to the letter of the law, it's a goal.
But if you watch it back, it goes between the chairs of Mulgrew and Isaac Murray. It's not as if it went directly over his bumper. And the goalpost you can see on either side, there is the red bar that designates the height of the ball. And so long as the ball doesn't surpass that.
Oh, yeah, I think there's been more clear-cut examples of sort of ones that just go over the bumper that are more annoying than that one. That is, I don't really have any complaints. It's annoying.
You said at the set piece there's only one place this is going, and I think that was straight to Amy Lee Julian. So, again, would have liked to see her stay in reverse there. Someone of her experience should know to just take it in control on her right-hand side and guide it down that right-hand wing. Not only does that aid the visibility, that gives her the option of the front bumper, the counterclockwise strike into it. Your options are doubled by staying in reverse.
Can you hear that? Is that a bellow from Buenos Aires I can hear? Probably screaming at the screen, stay in reverse.
Yeah, if anyone is an advocate for wingers staying in reverse, Jamil Khan does it beautifully there, but can't quite make the timing and or connection.
Tell you what, he generates some power on the spins, Jamil. In training, when he connects with it, you know.
Do you train together then?
Yeah. We tend to. So Mondays tend to be designated as first team.
Yeah.
But sometimes if we've got lack of numbers or like development squad players can turn up, and then like Wednesday nights are steel nights. But I've gone to pretty much every single one since I've moved up, and like Tyler and Ed, they go to a few. So we like to help out and train together, because that's how they're going to learn and get better by playing against us. But the other thing we do is, if it's, so say they've had this or a National League weekend coming up, whoever team has a National League weekend will have both training sessions that week.
That's good. I think you've seen that in Teesside Steel's game this season. They've shown a real development. That's a beautiful pick-off from Abigail Bolt over to Amy Lee Julian. We spoke about it in the game earlier, and Finley Cooper really getting that strength, that power on that front bumper pick-off. Perfect example there from Abigail Bolt and what that option can do. Oscar Mulgrew. Interesting setup here from Steele. No real options for Mulgrew to really guide the ball towards, because Jamil Khan is so square. He gives a bit of an angle now, and he's ushered away by Mark Kerrison. But this is that setup from Throstles are being really brave, and Steele are struggling to deal with it. Teesside still ball. Switched once again to Throstles. Abigail Bolt to take into Regan Kemp. Just cushions it, invites the pressure from Jamil Khan. Thomas Met's going to have an opportunity here. He's got a bit of an angle. Guides it goal bound. Didn't have the power to trouble the defensive duo of Throstles. But arguably Teesside Steel's best opportunity to score in the 16 minutes we've played. It remains Throstles 1, Teesside Steel 0. Kemp, nice pass in play.
Again, stay in reverse. I thought that was more in favour of Throstles than it was.
It's, yeah, very, very subjective. I think play could have continued. But I'm not going to be one to
No.
disagree with Mr.
No.
Kerrison. Nice set piece taken by Jamil Khan. Thomas Met wasn't necessarily set to capitalise.
It was a little bit in front of him, to be fair to Tom.
Khan showing his experience. Nice strike. Or intention, certainly, from Oscar Mulgrew. It's nice that he just nudged it forward a little bit to generate the space to 180 it. Jamil Khan just being ushered away. Thomas Met keeps it in.
This is something we've been trying to tell Tom. He did the first bit right, but then he chases the ball. He's got to get out of there, let Jamil take it.
Slight signs of frustration setting in for Teesside still, but all the while this remains 1-0. It just needs one break, one decisive action, and they could be right back in it. I've liked the passing of Abby Bolt. I think it's been decisive. I think it's been accurate.
She'll be in Paris in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, she's got the call up to represent West Bromwich Albion at the Fit for Powerchair Football Club World Cup in Paris, taking place from the 23rd to the 27th of June. Regan Kemp just bullies his way up the court into the side of Isaac Murray.
Got a chance here.
Another corner ball, no doubt, will be taken by Abby Bolt. She's been very accurate. Path Gackwood up once again to act as that screen. Amy Lee Julian almost certainly the intended target, so Jamil Khan's going to have to get as close as possible without encroaching on that box.
See what's a gap in the middle there.
Yeah, that's better from Jamil Khan. Just restricted that option.
I'd like to see Gackwood stay in there but face the ball, because he's pushing Mulgrew so far to the back post he can put it in the middle. He can just put the ball flatter. That's a brilliant ball from Lee Julian to Bolt. There was a gap there. There was a gap. Only got like 30 seconds left.
Audacious effort off the back wheel of Oscar Mulgrew, but experienced play. She's just happy to lock this up, keep it live, wind that clock down. That's good experienced play. The appeals of Oscar Mulgrew for the contact foul.
You've seen them given, you've seen them not given. It's one of those, isn't it? Right,
no, I think definitely the right decision.
Surely not the third time.
Well, it's a reverse here. Amy Lee Julian now on the set piece. Over to Abigail Bolt. Good. Once again, Jamil Khan brilliantly positioned himself to just prevent that counterclockwise strike from Abigail Bolt. And now we've got a potential break on. We've ticked over into additional time. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for the team talk at half-time for Teesside still.
Great decision by Jeff Lewis.
I think the officiating's been brilliant.
Spot on.
And it's been a fiery fixture, but very well officiated, and a brilliant first half of football. Throstles, you have to say, showing their experience, and they looked like the Premiership side out of the two.
Deserving of their lead, you have to say. Still haven't created anything really going forward, apart from that one chance for Tom Met. It's they've been undone by a set piece, and
I had a conversation with Tom Met just prior to the game, and he kind of said, "What do I have to do?" And I said, "You're going to be isolated. You're going to have to take those chances. You're going to be in the game 5-10% of the overall fixture, and if and when those opportunities come, capitalise." So thank you to all that are tuning in. Greg and I will be back very shortly for the second half. Hello everyone and welcome back. Premiership Play-off, the winner of which will earn a spot in the 25-26 National League Premiership. West Bromwich Albion Throstles currently a goal up against Teesside still via Amy Lee Julian. Have to say, just based on that first 20 minutes, Throstles much the better of the two teams, but the form that Teesside Steel are bringing into this game, this fixture is far from over.
We've had a false start. We're not underway yet.
Oh, it's a good job.
He was blowing the whistle to see if Isaac Murray was.
So
it's chaos to start the second half. It's absolute chaos.
Yep. But just getting the few adjustments and changes needed, and then Oscar Mulgrew will kick proceedings off. And we are officially underway. His attempt meets the front bumper of Amy Lee Julian, and straight away Throstles on the attack. So to go through the starting four, Parth Gackwald, Regan Kemp, Amy Lee Julian and Abby Bolt for Throstles. One change for Teesside Steel. They have Isaac Murray, Oscar Mulgrew, Jamil Khan, and the recently substituted Owen Swift.
I've been reliably informed it's absolutely tipping it down in Buenos Aires, by the way.
Is it?
Absolutely tipping it down. Khan.
Obviously, Buenos Aires.
Oh, whatever that is! My
heavy
word.
contact
Whoa.
between Parth Gackward and Regan Kemp, desperately trying to prevent that effort from Khan going over the line. It was a necessary evil. They're going to have to shake that one off. The ricochet shuddered through both of their bodies as Regan Kemp just turns around to check on Parth Gackwad, but a brilliant way for Teesside Steel to start the second half, to just put a little bit of fear in the opposition, something they weren't able to do in the first 20. You can see straight away they're more direct, they're being more decisive in their actions, and we have a real game on our hands. Oscar Mulgrew trying to find Jamil Khan, scooped up by Amy Lee Julian.
All the way around. Oh, I tell you what, that's very unfortunate. It's gone out of play.
Yeah, it's hard to distinguish the lines that designate the court from courtside, but without question, the right intention and action from Owen, who has so much experience. In game week 5, he became a record catcher to register a National League goal for 5 different clubs. So congratulations to him. That is a record shared by Hannah Hindley of Muscle Warriors. Remember, Hillsborough, Bolton Bullets, Headley Panthers.
I think would be the 5, yeah.
The 5 that Owen Swift has registered a goal for.
He's on it this morning, is Mr. Sipple.
All the way back to Isaac Murray, has to be alert, just cushions it into the side of Oscar Mulgrew, but is quickly pressured by Abby Bolt, who I probably have as the standout of the game so far. Her and Regan Kemp, I think, have just been controlling the tempo. That is more with reference to the first 20 minutes we've played. Just feels so much more open in the 3 minutes we've played of this second. Thank you to all that are tuning in. Khan. Blocked by Abby Bolt, who puts immediate pressure, but she's surrounded by 3 white shirts, or a yellow shirt of Isaac Murray. Regan Kemp on the edge of the box, ready to capitalise if that ricochet can fall kindly in his favour. Just out of danger. Scooped up by Jamil Khan. The ball stays in play. So that's forceful play from Jamil Khan. Probably a foul. and rightfully so, awarded in Regan Kemp's favour. Didn't think it would be awarded initially.
Yeah, I mean, fairly obvious one, wasn't it?
I mean, Regan Kemp is a very physical, strong player. It takes some effort to nudge him off the ball.
It's a physical game, this, isn't it?
It certainly is.
This will suit Throstles, though. Teesside still are the ones that need to force the issue more this second half. They are the goal down.
That's beautiful play from Owen Swift. Just to angle his chair to control it. That shows his experience. Just shy of 25 minutes played. Throstles still lead. Teesside still by a goal to nil.
Do these teams know that teammates are there? Because we've had some extensive crashes. As Swift goes one-on-one with Gackwad.
Interestingly, Owen Swift opted to just leave that to ricochet off path Gackwad and then engage it at the second phase. Path Gackwad doing a good job. He'll be familiar with Teesside still, having transferred to Throstles mid-season from Muscle Warriors. And the ball just between the chairs of Bolt and Mulgrew, out of play for a Throstles ball.
Someone's lost a toggle on the back of their chair. It's Regan Kemp. I can see he's missing the one closest to us on the bottom.
Very observant.
Good eyesight.
Very patient play from Regan Kemp. Down the line from Oscar Mulgrew. It looks as if he stayed in. Big hello to Gary and Sam Mackay. Tuning in.
Needs some more pace on the flick.
If you're overseeing this Teesside performance as coach, Greg, what are you telling them to do differently to try and force the narrative in their favour?
Pass the ball more. I know it's easy to say that there's been no passing really whatsoever. It's been really not up to the standards they'd have set with themselves so far. They've just got to get the ball moving and try and stretch this Throstles team, because at the minute it's far too easy for them. They've not really threatened Gackwad. As the closer we get to 40 minutes, the more Throstles are going to drop and sit back and shut up shop. At the minute they've got the opportunity where Throstles are still going for that second.
I think it's the perfect kind of example to give you as to the levels between the Premiership and the Championship. And whilst Throstles haven't seen victory in 14 games, they're fairly comfortable against a team that hasn't lost in 18 in the Championship. And whilst the gap between the Premiership and Championship continues to decrease in its size, there is still a gap there.
Told you I was lucky to get away without giving away a free kick there. Yeah, and I still, despite the form book, I still made Throstles favourites coming into it.
Oh, I think you would be a brave person in any instance where there's a Premiership playoff to side with the Championship team. I mean, Throstles have brought, I think, their full complement, their full squad. So they come with strength. Likewise from Teesside still. Can see Luke Heenan, who's not here, as Oscar Mulgrew attempts an effort. Luke Heenan in the chat. Just asking them to move the ball. Thinks their success may come from a set piece. They had a lot of success from set pieces across the 24-25 season. I think it's easier said than done in really trying to create and earn your team them set piece opportunities. Abigail Bolt tries to just bypass Oscar Mulgrew, who adjusts to cover that right-hand post. Good play from Throstles.
I don't know if it's the occasion as such. They didn't say they were nervous beforehand. They were looking forward to it. They just haven't really been able to show themselves as they would have hoped so far still.
Without getting ahead of myself, if Teesside still wait, as Abigail Bolt fires it off the right-hand post, not before a 2-on-1 was awarded in favour of Teesside Steel, to the delight of their defensive duo at the time, Owen Swift and Isaac Murray. That's a real let-off. Could that be the catalyst to see them really do something now?
Oscar Owen was screaming for that 2-on-1 straight away.
But I was going to go on to say that if Teesside still are to lose this game and remain in the Championship division, you could arguably have them favourites to win it next season. And they're well ahead of their projected timeline. I don't think anyone suspected they would be in this fixture at the start of the season, bringing in a formidable run of form. So win or lose, they are a credit to themselves, to their club, to their families. So it's nothing but positives. Jamil Khan swiped into the side of Regan Kemp. So a direct free kick here for Throstles. This is going to be a real opportunity for them to double their lead. Whilst the angle's not there to necessarily go directly for goal. Interesting setup from Throstles. Abby Bolt just backs off. Fires it goal bound, blocked by Isaac Murray. No real danger. It's good work from Abby Bolt. I think it's just about game management as much as anything else at the moment. Out for a corner ball. Time is not on the side of Teesside Steel. They have 8.5 minutes to try and find success that has evaded them in the 32 minutes played.
I don't see why Pat's facing the other way.
Good save from Isaac Murray. You've questioned his setup a few times at set pieces throughout this game. He always typically acts as the screen, but it's almost a little bit telegraphed. They know it's going to that far receiver.
Yeah, but they're still getting success, which is slightly, I've got to say, annoying from a Teesside Steel perspective. You've got to, I think, say you want defensive, because you can ask for defensive positioning. So I think you've got to ask for that. Set up where you want to set up, and not allow yourself to get blocked in on the line like that. That'll be a 2-on-1. Frustrations boiling over slightly for Teesside Steel. They know they're running out of time.
Regan Kemp to take. Abby Bolt to his left, who he opts to find. Quickly closed down by Oscar Mulgrew.
Won it back though. Mulgrew, I could have flicked that towards Khan. This is exactly where Throstles want the ball. Just trying to bleed any time off the clock. Regan Kemp, Lee Julian was saved by Murray. Ball ricochets off Mulgrew. Lee Julian with the effort. And again, it's another sloppy corner. Are they going to go with the same tactic again?
It looks like Parth Gakwad is the one advancing up the court.
They're switching it up.
So he's going to be the far receiver now. So Abigail Bolt a little bit more positioned to aim for goal herself, but blocked, and now a potential break on Jamil Khan's position, and not necessarily there. I understand his placement though.
He moved. So he was sat on the far post. Saw Abigail had far too much space in the box at the near post. Moved, and about halfway across, Throstles took the corner early. If it had stayed where he was, he actually probably would have been more of an option on the counter attack.
Five and a half minutes to go. This game, of course, would go to extra time and penalties if it was yet to be settled at the conclusion of the 40-minute fixture, plus any additional time, unlike our championship entry, which is a mini round robin. Following this, we have Nottingham Forest versus Greenbank Gladiators. Beautiful pick of Owen Smith, an opportunity, can't quite make connection. There'll be no one more frustrated than him in the Lee Westwood Sports Centre. That was probably their best opportunity of the game.
They're going for it now as well. They are going for it.
So explain to me this change in terms of this tactical switch up that they're going to do now.
I wish I could. I'm assuming they're going 4 out and moving Isaac into the middle, not back. Is what I'm, unless they're playing Isaac out wide and Jack, I honestly couldn't tell you.
I think Isaac is a very underrated player in attack. Yes, we don't see it enough. I think he's itching to play there or contribute in attack more often than he probably does. So really intrigued to see this switch up and to see if he can influence it in their favour. You could beg the question, is it a little bit too late? I mean, they've got 4 minutes plus any additional time left, and there hasn't been a great deal of stoppages in this second half, so maybe a minute or two. So he's got 5-6 minutes to try and create something. That is frustrating. Just rebounded off the front of Jamil Khan's chair. He could have backed off there. He was so intent and so locked in on that ball.
I got confused between the black line that's right in front of the goal line. See those 2 lines? There's a black line.
I said it already, that at court level it's very hard to distinguish between the lines of the court. I think the camera that we have affords a better angle.
Yeah, for a split second I thought Gakwad had saved that by sitting off the court, and I thought, oh my word, that's the drama you don't need right now. So that excellent eyesight's gone out the window very quickly.
You've only been playing in this sports hall for how many years?
12.
Wow. Veteran of the game these days.
At 23.
Abigail Bolt picks off back to Oscar Mulgrew, now adorning the yellow goalkeeper jersey.
Got to force the issue.
Yeah, I think
can't afford for Abigail to sit in the corner.
And she's done it so well all game, even in the first half. So they're going to have to try and play it off for number 21 for Throstles.
Such a professional performance from Throstles this. They've done what they needed to do.
They've been brilliant.
Yeah, they've really...
I think between Abigail Bolt and Regan Kemp, they've controlled the tempo, they've dictated the play. Amy Lee Julian looks as if, barring some late drama, she will be the decider via that earlier goal. And Parth Gakwad, if and when he's been called upon, whether that's in attack or defensive duties, has done a solid job. Interesting that they haven't changed it at all, but with it being so finely balanced, you can understand that decision. That's an interesting decision there from Jamil Khan. Just plays it back to Abigail Bolt, who will happily lock it up in that top corner.
I think Oscar Mulgrew could have at least had a swing at it, to be fair. He went for it, and then maybe, I don't know, thought Abigail Bolt was closer to him than she actually was.
Isaac Murray's obviously switched his position, but it doesn't look as if he's going to get a single touch out wide.
The whole switch of 4 out clearly just hasn't worked.
This is when they're going to need to do it. Play resets. They've got a set piece in their favour. This initial ball and second phase is so important, but they're so congested, they're so condensed in their own half by Abigail Bolt. They're going to just let that go.
They're panicking.
That could have been let go. Goal kick. You go again. We've got a minute left now. Owen Swift didn't need to engage that ball, but straight away he's gifted possession and potentially
That'd be a free kick.
Has given away a foul. And you said about that frustration really setting in, and it looks as if Throstles, via this controlled professional performance, will be a Premiership side for 25-26.
They've done their job so well. Abigail Bolt has been absolutely exceptional.
It's the perfect confidence to bring into the Fit for Power Chair Football Club World Cup starting in a week or two, where she'll be stepping up to a greater level than one she's never really competed at before, to do her team and former teams no disservice. But this is it, probably the last real action. She just plays it off of the bumper of the defence.
It's been so professional.
And that signals the end of the regulation 20. I'll ask you officially for a player of the match, but I suspect I know the answer.
I mean, if I said anyone else other than Abigail Bolt, I think I'd be banned off commentary for the rest of my life. I mean, this has been absolutely exceptional.
I echo all of that, and it looks as if it's going to be a congratulations to Throstles, who win their first game in 15 games.
Said throw the form book out in games like this.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, this is... you know what? If this was Marcus Harrison, we'd be going, this is vintage Marcus Harrison from Abigail.
Absolutely.
She has completely dominated this game. She has locked the ball up for so long.
Yeah. It's what it didn't need to be pretty, it just needed to be effective, and it's proven to be exactly that. We've now had a minute over the regulation time, but as has been the case so often in this second half, Abigail Bolt preventing Teesside still from advancing up the court, deemed too forceful from Jamil Khan, so very late on. Throstles are going to get a direct free kick. I don't think she's going to risk too much. She'll probably just play it off the defence very gently, as is exactly what she does, and she locks it up. Amy Lee Julian has to drop off ever so slightly.
So good. I'm running. You run out of superlatives. It's so good. The ball has been in the corner for the last 5 minutes. When was the last time Teesside got out of the defensive third? Bear in mind they need to force an issue.
They've had opportunities, but she's just frustrated them so much that it just hasn't paid off. And that has ultimately secured Throstles their ticket to the 25-26 National League Premiership. Commiserations to Teesside still, but I said earlier, I'll say again now, do not let that disappoint you. Do not let your season be defined by that defeat. You have been incredible, and you can go back to the drawing board in the off-season and build bigger, better, stronger for 25-26. And I will second what I said. I have them favourites for the championship, assuming they can keep this cohort together. There's no reason why they can't really challenge for major honours next season.
Yeah, they've had a fantastic season. Like you said earlier, no one really thought they'd even get into this game. So to be here, going on an 18-game unbeaten run is just fantastic. But, you know, Throstles completely deserve it. Absolutely. That is such a professional 1-0 win. Locked the game down. Gave Teesside still no chances really whatsoever. Abigail Bolt, exceptional. Absolutely exceptional.
I agree completely. Thank you to all that have tuning in, to myself and Greg. Next up here at the Lee Westwood Sports Centre, we have to determine our championship teams for 25-26, and that will come via Nottingham Forest versus Green Bank Gladiators. It was scheduled for 12 o'clock. As you can see, we're running behind a little bit, so I suspect that will be nearer 20 past 12. I hope you can tune in to that one. Thank you all.